If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror. We'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello, my name is Kevin Tudor, and I'm one of the three hosts of Almost Major, a film podcast dissecting many major indie studios and the films they release. Every week, myself, Charlie Nash, and Bryden Doyle discuss overlooked, forgotten, or bona fide classic indie films via studio-specific miniseries. We've previously covered numerous films from Artisan Entertainment, Lionsgate Films, and New Line Cinema. Titles including The Blair Witch Project, American Psycho, Dogville, But I'm a Cheerleader, Saw, Requiem for a Dream, and Ringmaster, you know, the Jerry Springer film. Anyways, we have a fun time every week and we hope you will join us. Subscribe to Almost Major wherever you get your podcasts. Now proudly a part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw, and I am joined by my good friend. I've met him twice in real life, which is not something that can be said for people who podcast remotely. OughtFive Films own Father Malone.
Good afternoon.
Evening, wherever you are. Wherever you are in this great world, good tidings to you, wherever you are.
Whatever time of day it is, I say good afternoon to you.
That's true. And we are right in the middle of Arquette August, and we are looking at a film that I had never seen before until watching it. For this podcast, so getting things out of the way that I'd never seen but probably should have seen, maybe. We're looking at a film that is written by Quentin Tarantino, not directed by him, because still it's a little bit of a plagiarist nightmare, but again, at least it doesn't have Tarantino's greedy little feet all over it. We're talking about True Romance.
From the director of Top Gun and Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Hello, baby!
Clarence? I'm a married man, buddy.
A con man.
Ask him if he got the letter.
Did you get the letter?
What letter?
He wants to talk to you.
No time. Tell him we gotta go.
A call girl.
Did you call for a date?
Huh?
I'm Alabama.
She a 4-alarm fire or what?
She seems very nice.
What are you doing in L.A. anyway, huh?
And a suitcase full of trouble.
My name is Vincent Cocotti. I work as consul for Mr. Blue Boyle, the man your son stole from.
Now, all that stands between them and their wildest dreams.
Find out who this wing and a prayer artist is and take him off at the neck.
Are 60 cops. 40 agents.
He's a wild man, this kid Clarence. I like him.
30 mobsters.
I haven't killed anybody since 1984.
And a few thousand bullets.
We're all gonna die here. These are cops!
Put him down! Put him down! Put him down!
Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken.
Slow it down, man.
In a Tony Scott film.
I think what you did was so romantic.
Not since Bonnie and Clyde have two people been so good at being bad. True Romance.
So, film is directed by Tony Scott, written by everyone's favorite, you don't like Tarantino? Try to trigger a film nerd real quick. Stars Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper. I'm not going to name everyone because we're going to end up
There are a lot, man.
Yeah, there's a
Gary
lot.
Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Michael Rappaport, who is a...
Michael Rappaport.
He's an insane person now, apparently. Christopher Walken.
Saul Rubinek. Bronson Pinchot.
Samuel L. Jackson is in it for like a second.
2 seconds.
Yeah, so there's a lot of folks in this movie, but the main three are
James Gandolfini.
Slater. Okay, stop it. Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, and Dennis Hopper are the big three. The film centers on Quentin Tarantino, who is played by Christian Slater, who marries You tell me if I'm wrong, because you know I'm not.
I know you're not in this case, yeah.
A pop culture geek who marries a call girl and gets embroiled in underworld underpinnings like cocaine and drugs and the mob and
murder.
Crackheads and murder. So, yeah, it's a movie that is all over the place, much like Quentin Tarantino himself. I am curious, Father Malone, because I know you love this movie. What did you think rewatching it?
I love this movie.
I know you do.
I think this is his best thing. I think you know what, man? I am in no way disagreeing with you on Quentin Tarantino in his entire career. More importantly, his fans, who are a little too rabid for their own good and maybe can't look past the fact that he is an incredible plagiarist.
There was some meme I was looking at. It's like, you think us women are sensitive? Have you ever told a man you don't like Quentin Tarantino? It's just like, boy, isn't that fucking true? Like, you can't say anything bad about him.
No, like, not at all. Like, you have... I mean, people will say, well, I didn't really like Hateful Eight, but... no. And I agree with you. Like, 9 out of 10 times. The 10th time is True Romance. I fucking
a film
love
he
this
did
movie.
not direct. So a lot of the weirdness of Tarantino is really reined in. Well, not all of it. Some of it.
Yeah, not all of it. I think I'm going to say this is his best written film. When you say Tarantino, you say, what's good about Quentin Tarantino? Everyone is going to say the first thing they're going to come out of their mouth is his dialogue is good. And I cannot disagree with that in any of his films, even if there's sometimes lines lifted completely from other films. This case,
this guy says sometimes.
Sometimes. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, it's more often than not. I get it. I'm not an apologist for Quentin Tarantino. I am an apologist for Game of Thrones. Anyway, the thing is...
Dirty bastard.
I know. I know. I've now learned the lesson, which is to say it fast and then move on. This script, there's dialogue in this film that is just absolutely sublime. The scene between Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper is one of the best written things I have ever seen in any movie. And you can say whatever you want about the rest of his career and what a fucking weirdo he is and whatever you'd like. That scene is goddamn sparkling. That makes me envious as a writer on my own, like how fucking good that scene is. The Sicilian scene is what it's sort of colloquially referred to as. That scene, those two actors, that dialogue, that back and forth is so fucking tight and amazing. I'm almost positive that's the one speech that Tarantino himself feels like he wished he had not left in the script so he could have used it in his own movies. And I don't blame him because he has never written anything better than that scene.
Oh, yeah. No. So look, if you want to know how I feel about Tarantino's most recent film, we did a podcast. It's almost an hour long about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's like 2 or 3 podcasts back in your RSS feed. Go check that one out if you're wondering my thoughts on Tarantino directed and written films. But this film, I kind of had to scale it back because it is just written by Tarantino, which, for all intents and purposes, a lot of these guys, like Tarantino, Abrams, Whedon, they all are much better writers than they are directors. Whedon, not so much. I think Joss Whedon is a misogynistic piece of shit. But and things have come to light recently that are pointing out that to be the case. So I feel slightly vindicated there, and anyone who feels the same way should feel vindicated as well, because Joss Whedon is not he is similar to Quentin Tarantino. He's like protected by the nerd community, and it's like, you know, they wouldn't piss on your gums if your teeth were on fire. So, just so you're aware, neither would Tarantino. So I have to scale back my kind of feelings towards Tarantino when it comes to True Romance, because while it does have that Tarantino feel to it, because he did ultimately write the script, the direction is Tony Scott. And I love Tony Scott. He, you know, unfortunately, he took his own life several years back, but he directed a lot of great films. And, you know, it's...
A lot?
A couple, right?
A couple. The Hunger is real good.
Do you not like Top Gun? I'm just kidding. I don't like Top Gun either.
Nobody likes Top Gun.
Bum, 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 bum. The thing about Tony Scott is we'll never know what Tony Scott could have made past 2013. And look, everyone always likes to talk about how great Ridley Scott is. And I think Ridley Scott has made 2 good movies. That's it. Blade Runner and Alien. Honest to God, that's it. And he made...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Made them.
You didn't like Legend?
I've never seen Legend.
Oh, Jesus.
But hold on a second. In my defense, I'm sure I would like that movie if I saw it, so we'll say 3. But the two big...
See the director's cut, though.
But the 2 big ones, right?
Yeah, are Blade Runner and Alien.
Yeah, and everything else, I mean, let's not talk about Ridley Scott's recent films.
Oh, let's not.
Alien Covenant and Prometheus. Oh, boy. Boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. The Martian. Boy, that's a boring movie, isn't it?
Oh, you know what? I like The Martian.
It's just boring. Like, it's
I don't know. I enjoyed it.
It's just, I mean, you adapted the book completely 100%. So, okay. So I'll just read the book then. I don't know. The Martian's just one of those movies where, like, I just don't get it. Like, it's okay, sure, but it's not a comedy Golden Globes.
Was it up for a comedy Golden Globe?
It won a Golden Globe for Best Comedy. Because that's the thing.
That's funnier than anything in The Martian.
Yeah. That is a funny joke, eh? But the thing about Tony Scott is he has a distinct style, and while it's not Ridley Scott, it's different in a good way, and it's got that freneticness to it, which I think works with Tarantino's script, because Tarantino is like a dumb Aaron Sorkin, the way he writes dialogue. Like, he's like if Aaron Sorkin was writing dialogue, and he's like, but I'm just gonna say the N-word a bunch of times. And, God, this movie has a bunch of that in it. Shocking. Including the best scene in the film, but in the best scene in the film, it actually works perfectly.
Look, I totally agree with you. I think sometimes he throws it out there just for sort of shock value, or just because he can, or just because he wants to push a button or two. In this case, in this movie, it is the most appropriate for what needs to be said between these two characters. It's spectacular.
And the other thing, and this, all the credit goes to Tony Scott. If you do any research about this film, you'll find that he's the reason the ending is a happy ending.
That is true, and because have you seen the original ending? Because I mean, they did shoot it that way.
No, I have not seen the original. I was looking for it, and I didn't get a chance to watch it.
I have it. I've watched it. I watched it one time, and I gotta say, if he had gone with it, I would still like the movie as much as I do, but it actually kind of tore my heart out. So I'm glad Tony Scott.
Well, for the listening audience, please give us a quick briefer as to what the original ending was.
The original ending of the movie is when the final big showdown occurs. One of our two leads, Clarence Worley, and his wife, Alabama Worley, are involved in the shooting. Clarence gets shot in the face and dies. Alabama absconds with the suitcase full of money and drives away, heading to Mexico, where she is now pregnant with his child. And that in and of itself is kind of heartbreaking, but the movie begins with narration and it ends with narration in both versions, but her narration at the end is so kind of cold and not necessarily heartless. It's a character talking to herself, trying to convince herself that this is how it should be, like trying to make herself feel like it's okay that he's dead by effectively denigrating him. It's been years since I've seen it, but she's basically like, fuck you, Clarence, you're dead, and there's nothing I can do about that, and I'm moving on. And it is... it's a lot. It's a lot. If Tarantino had made this movie...
That sounds very Tarantino.
If Tarantino had made this movie, that would be the ending, and I would not fault him for it, because it feels... I say this a lot. It felt inevitable and appropriate, and I think I would like the movie on a different level had that been the ending. However, like Tony Scott is on record as saying, like, I love these two kids, and I want them to get away. And I know Hollywood tends to lean into the happy ending, and we all kind of want it and crave it. In this case, it's almost. In this case, it's actually kind of a more revolutionary ending in that most young lovers on the run, they're going to get gunned down at the end. It's kind of the Bonnie and Clyde kind of trope where they're going to get shot and killed, and maybe they die together, and that's kind of cool and everything. But something about these two kids getting away at the end, it makes me happy, and I'm not going to apologize for that. So I agree with you. Tony Scott made the right call here.
Well, and that's the thing about this movie is ultimately like we've been saying, it is a Tarantino written film, but if it had that ending, I would have been like, this movie is pretty fucking generic in the way that it wraps everything up. Like, the big standoff. And knowing what we know now about Tarantino, how many of his movies have happy endings? 2? Once Upon a Time
Pulp Fiction has a happy ending?
Yeah, sure. For some of the characters.
Yeah, well, that's... look, again,
that's the problem with Tarantino movies now, is Tarantino movies now have so many damn characters, you could make the statement that they all have happy endings because some of the characters always survive.
Well, in the case of Pulp Fiction, the only... It's not a brilliant thing, fracturing the timeline. I don't feel that. However, the way he fractures the timeline gives those two characters a big win at the end, and that's kind of cool. Even though we already know one of those characters just gets gunned down sort of while he's on the toilet. So, I guess Pulp Fiction does have a happy ending. Are there others? I can't really think. I guess Kill Bill has a happy ending. Django has a happy ending. Well, look. Now it's looking like more and more of his films have happy endings.
Well, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has a happy ending. So,
Kill Bill has a happy ending. Django has a happy ending. Inglourious Basterds has a happy ending. It's most of them. Reservoir Dogs is the only one where everyone is fucking dead.
No, it was that question was meant to be introspective because everyone always feels like Tarantino blows it up at the end of the film, but he doesn't.
No, I guess he doesn't. Jackie Brown has a happy ending.
Yeah, and again, going back to Tarantino...
He's not as nihilistic as people want him to be.
No, which is fine. We have directors like Fincher and Lynch and Terrence Malick and other people to be nihilistic for him.
Sure.
But the issue I have with this movie is a lot of it feels like too much is just going on. Too much is going on at any one point. And there seems to be Tarantino doing his frenetic... that thing that he was doing when he was writing this script. He was patting himself on the back when he wrote the Sicilian scene.
You know what? In that case, fucking go to town and pat yourself on the motherfucking back, man. And you know what? Here's the thing, though, Chris. Before you continue with that sort of where you're going with this, like some of this movie is like feels too packed. That's less him, more Tony Scott, because Tony Scott is always about more and more crazy cutting and more frenetic action. So I think if you're laying that particular blame on the film, give it to Tony and not Tarantino.
The issue I have is that when you have this film with all these characters and character actors, it becomes distracting because there's too much going.
I don't know, man. I think this has a pretty solid through line with these two kids, and they get into sort of wacky misadventures here and there, but it doesn't feel like it's overstuffed to me. It feels like maybe you think they get into like too many misadventures.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of what it feels like sometimes. Like, oh, and now he's at the the hamburger stand talking to the guy about how much I was like, God damn, like this is
I mean,
it's a little indulgent,
but
it's
a little indulgent.
It feels like Tarantino just. Christian Slater is Tarantino in this movie. I get it. You wrote yourself. He has gone on record and said, this is my most autobiographical film. Oh, because you went and murdered your wife's pimp? Okay, dude. Like, just because what it feels like, and look, I don't dislike this movie. I actually like it a lot, but a lot of this goes back to, I know the person who wrote it, and I know the way he is outwardly, and the way that he presents himself to the movie-going public, and he's an asshole. And the character that he presents in this film is him trying to make amends with the fact that he is an unlikable asshole by creating a character that is essentially the parts of him that aren't unlikable with a likable veneer on top.
Okay, I can't disagree with your assessment of the man, and I can also not disagree with he's written the charming version of himself.
Right. Which is what Clarence Worley is. 100%.
You know what?
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan. #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
It absolutely is, but I guarantee you that any writer, their best work, they have written themselves and given that character all of their best attributes. So I'm not going to fault the character of Clarence Worley.
No, I'm not faulting the character. I'm just saying it's too on the nose for its own good. I mean, if Quentin Tarantino had never become what he had become now, I think we wouldn't be having this conversation. But we know who Tarantino is.
You know, the thing is, when I saw this movie, I didn't know a fucking thing about Quentin Tarantino.
Nobody did.
Now, I'm sure you'll know, and I don't, which is weird, but this movie came out before or after Reservoir Dogs? It came out after, didn't it?
It came out after, right.
It came out after, okay. Yeah, and the only reason I kind of know that is I saw this movie. I hate when reviewers, by the way, get all autobiographical on themselves, but nevertheless, I'm gonna say this anyway. I saw this movie at the Bruin Theater, which I know is where Sharon Tate goes to see herself in Westwood in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And she doesn't pay for the fucking ticket.
Okay, I paid for... No, I was about to say I paid for mine, but I didn't because I was a projectionist in Santa Monica, and projectionists had this weird code at the time where we would let each other into each other's movie theaters. So I didn't pay for this movie either. However... went to see it on opening day at the Bruin Theater, and I do remember during the opening credits when written by Quentin Tarantino came on the screen, there was a very tiny contingent in the audience, and it was packed, who started applauding when they heard his name, and that was because we were fans of Reservoir Dogs, because the sort of plagiaristic aspects of who the guy is had not yet come to light. And
unfortunately, because our dear friend...
Mike White is the progenitor of that entire movement. Yes.
Yes, our dear friend and oft Kulturecast co-host Mike White. We can talk about him because he's not here right now, but he's kind of the reason that happened.
Yes, and
I'm not sure
rightfully so, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure he would take credit for it because Mike's a pretty humble guy. But
he is, but you know what? If there was an anti-Tarantino movement, and not because of his success or any other reason he outright steals from films and appropriates them
better than him. It's just he steals.
No, it's
you know what, movies.
Yeah, it is absolutely not better than him. Look, man, if the guy does have a bit of genius, I hate to throw the word out. If he does, it's that he's taking from lesser known B movies and turning them into a bit of a higher form of art. I'm not in his camp, but I gotta say he does do that. Whether or not that's
it's absolutely brilliant because he really is taking movies that other people, and by other people I would say mainstream audiences, have not seen. Like, what person has seen a random mid-70s blaxploitation film where the Samuel L. Jackson speech came from in Pulp Fiction?
Right. Hey, look, man. Look, again, I am not.
Like, this is not a. By the way, word for word. Yeah, and it's like, but nobody knows.
I know, I've seen it.
No, but I'm saying that nobody knows that because the window for that being a thing was so far shut and gone that only a film fanatic like Tarantino.
Yeah.
And that is why so many people who are into film love him, is because they feel like he is their voice. If I could write a movie, I would pay homage to my favorite movies. But again, where does homage stop and plagiarism begin? And it is a very blurred line. But for me, because Tarantino does it in every single movie he's ever written, it is just plagiarism.
I do not disagree with you.
Especially when you're just copying someone outright.
You know what? Here's the thing, though. Like, the more disturbing thing to me than him doing it, which I can't actually fathom, writing a script and grabbing a speech from another film that nobody has heard of and putting it into mine and just going, I'm cool with that, because that's deplorable to me. Worse than that is you point this out to somebody and then they kind of shrug it off. Like, I don't care, I had a good time.
Well, and the other thing, what's even worse than that is pointing it out to the person who did it and them claiming, well, I've never even heard of that movie before, like he did with Ringo Lamb's A City on Fire.
He certainly did that at the time. I think he
was like, I have never heard of this movie. Like, that is impossible. Like, what's that called? Where, like, the whole thing with Amy Schumer stealing people's jokes, where it's like the same thinking, or it's some term.
Parallel thinking.
Parallel thinking. It's like, yeah, or it's parallel thinking, or you saw or heard someone else's stand-up who is not nearly as successful as you and said, I could probably steal this and put this in my own movie.
I don't even think think it needs to be even that nefarious. I think it can be sometimes you've heard it, do not remember hearing it, and write it down. But when it gets pointed out to you, like, this thing occurred, that you need to go, holy fuck, you're right, I did do that, I'm sorry. Because, like, in the Amy Schumer kind of that sort of tempest in a teapot there about that, people have pointed out that Robin Williams was the same way, where he would see stand-up comics all the time and appropriate their jokes, and then once it was pointed out, he would say, I'm sorry, and like send them a check, like, I didn't realize I did it. So I think it's possible to do that. I don't think that's the case with Tarantino in the majority of his things. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And so it's disturbing on that level. And it's also disturbing.
But he has, like, so many people. He has created an insular fan base of people that will not listen. And it's so bizarre. It's bizarre.
It is.
Like, there are no other film directors working today that have that sort of bizarre fanboy fervor that is like, they could never do anything wrong. Well, hopefully it's
Kevin
not
Smith.
that great, but it's like...
Kevin Smith gets the same pass for some reason. And he's not even stealing from other people. He's just a hack.
Not like that. Like, Kevin Smith, like, that's the thing, like, that's always the comparison, but I feel like Kevin Smith is a mark for himself, and that is his biggest problem. On top of everything, like, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. I mean, I grew up watching Clerks and all those, and Dogma,
Sure.
and like, I acknowledge that his movies are not very good. And like, it's weird to me because I've never met someone who is as fervent about Kevin Smith movies or Scorsese or Lynch and will be like, they never could do a thing wrong. It's like, what? Like, or they you know,
It's unusual. I agree.
The Bodyguard is where that whole thing from Pulp Fiction came from. And it's like, but that can't be true. It's like, but it is.
It is true. Mike White proved it.
And also, on top of everything else, in True Romance, they go and see what movies? Whose movies at the beginning of the film?
They go to see
Sonny fucking Chiba.
Sonny Chiba.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is the movie that the Pulp Fiction little ditty, the little monologue that Jules gives in Pulp Fiction is from The Bodyguard, a Sonny Chiba film.
He's done right by Sonny Chiba, though, hasn't he?
He sure has ripped him off, hasn't he?
Well, he put him in Kill Bill. Listen, I
guess thank you, white man in America, for
okay. Listen.
Thank you, Mr.
All right.
Thank you,
You know
Mr.
what?
American
I'm shutting
filmmaker.
your butt down, Chris Stachiw.
Thank you, Mr. American filmmaker man, for putting me in your film that blatantly rips off the
All right.
genre
You know what?
I made
All right. Now, you know what? I'm officially calling this. We are no longer talking about. Let's get back to True Romance because it's a fucking good movie.
Again, True Romance is I would agree with you 100%. It's the best thing Tarantino has ever done. And
It's his best written fucking thing, man.
It's the best thing he's ever had any part of because he's not behind the camera.
That's fine by me. You know what?
I agree. Like, it doesn't allow him to do his indulgently weird things. He has to say, "Here's my script. Someone else is doing everything else." And you know what? That's perfect.
And here's the thing. Like, now this is a script I've read. Actually, I think I could say that having just seen the movie, I can say that it's his best written thing. But if you read the script, it's actually really well written as well. There are descriptions in the script that I find are really good. Like, just as a writer myself and somebody who enjoys reading a good screenplay, finding a screenplay that's actually well written that makes you want to turn the page is tough, man. It's mostly just sort of stage direction and dialogue. If you can write a script that is a compelling read, that's a rare thing, and he actually does it here. But I will say, leaning into the idea.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan. #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Idea that it's better that somebody else made this movie. Take a character like Floyd. This is Brad Pitt's character in the movie. Okay,
Brad Pitt, the Brad Pitt of just now in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
and Aldo Rain in Inglourious Bastards.
Right.
So he's got a history with Mr. Tarantino. His character, as written by Tarantino, as much as I love the script and whatever, was just really stupid. He was just a dummy. Brad Pitt came in and said, "Hey, can we make this guy a stoner?" Tony Scott said, "Yeah, let's do that. That's fun." And that character's fucking hilarious. If he had just been this fucking idiot, I don't think anyone would have appreciated that performance at all.
There is the thing that proves what we've been talking about. When it's Tarantino handing it off, that means someone else can override decisions made in the script, like changing the ending, like changing the way characters are. And I think that would have been a thing that would have been a success and a benefit to Tarantino. Is that
I agree.
For the director and the writer, who's going to question you? Look at The Phantom Menace. Who questioned George Lucas? He was the writer and director. No one. Look at The Phantom Menace.
No one.
Boy, it's a movie that came out, isn't it? That has, Jar Jar Binks and Jake Lloyd and all sorts of midichlorians and everything else that everyone likes to drag that movie for.
That pod race is great, though.
Yeah, the pod race is the best part of the movie.
It's really good, right?
It actually is, yes.
I mean, it's really good. Like, you can say whatever you want about that fucking movie.
Film.
That sequence is fucking awesome.
But again, when you have someone who gives you pushback in the form of, okay, I'm handing my script off, it is now your film to go and execute. I have given you the tools and the source material, which was my script. You do your thing now. That, I think, in my mind, is always the way Tarantino should have been part of Hollywood. And it's not, and we get what we get now. But True Romance is the best thing he's ever done because it became less about the Tarantino show, which everything he's ever made since feels like, and more about a collaborative process, which is what filmmaking is.
Yeah, and what it should be. Even the best sort of writer, I've read scripts that, I've been privy on occasion to get a script before it gets made, and then seeing what it became afterwards. And sometimes it's the filmmaker wrote it themselves and then allowed the actors or trusted them to come up with new things or improvised on the set. Like it is exactly what you said. It's a collaborative process. Like, look, somebody like Stanley Kubrick, probably not as collaborative.
Which is why when we think about blaming someone for a bad movie coming out, which I think is a bizarre way to function, you cannot just be like, well, the fucking director's bad. It's like, because film is a collaborative process, it's not just one person sitting at an easel with a brush and painting.
Yeah.
It is a collaborative process, which means everyone has a hand in either the success or the failure of the film. From the DP, to the producers, to the cinematographers, to the editors, to the, everyone, to the people who make the fucking trailers for the movie, to get the people in the theaters excited to go and see the film. It is a collaborative process, and I think that really is something that is lost on modern film goers. It takes a village to make a film. And the problem with what we have now with Tarantino is, if I didn't know any better, I would think that he's the only one who makes the movie. This is the 10th film by Quentin Tarantino. Oh my God, dude, you are not the only one making this movie. You can't be.
Well, they do say a success has many parents, but a failure is an orphan. And we all want to sort of point to a film that we love and say, well, you know what? That's fucking Scorsese for you. But it's like, yeah, but he didn't write that. And
Scorsese
he didn't act
has written all of one or two films?
If that.
Yeah. I mean, I know he had a hand in writing Goodfellas and he wrote Mean Streets. But, I mean, when I think of Scorsese, I don't think of Scorsese the writer. I think of the Scorsese the director.
And, the director. And a director is, if they're any good at all, allow accidents to happen and allow other people to do their thing. And it's all, you know what? It's their final call, and they're the ones who are going to take the shit if the movie fails. So,
which again, that is very. How should I say it? That's a very American way of thinking. It's like, well, the country is in financial turmoil, so it must just be the president. I'm not defending Trump, but I'm just saying that, look at the way any president's ever been treated. It's always the highest profile person's fault. And, sometimes, so let's use an example here. Alien 3, right? Massive failure of a movie. David Fincher will not talk about it. And rightfully so, because the way it sounded like when that film was made was that film was made essentially by a studio saying, this is the way we want you to make it, and if you don't make it our way, we're just going to release the film anyways because there's a deadline. What would David Fincher go on to direct his next film? Seven, a film he did not write the script for. Mind you, that script was written by Andrew Kevin Walker, who would go on to write 8mm, but everyone remembers that as a David Fincher movie.
Right.
It's not a David Fincher movie. It's a collaborative experience by the people who wrote the script and everyone else. He directed it, sure. And his direction, I love David Fincher. Zodiac is absolutely one of my favorite movies. He didn't write the script for that movie either. And I think that there's this weird thing.
I don't think he's written anything.
I don't think he has either. He might have, but I mean, Social Network he definitely didn't write, because that is very much Aaron Sorkin. Fingers all over that. He probably hasn't written anything, which again, that's perfectly fine, because that's not his job. He doesn't have to write it. Probably better that he doesn't, because that's the whole point behind filmmaking. I mean, you know that. You know that. I know that. It's that this is a collaborative thing. If I'm not good at writing, but I'm great at directing, and I have a great eye for blocking a scene and everything, why would I spend my time writing if I could just go find someone who wrote a fantastic script?
And you can shepherd a script. That's the other thing. Like
Tony
there's no
Scott
question in my mind.
Romance.
Yeah. I mean, the best filmmaker can give the writer notes and say, you know what? I really like this. We should need to pump this up. We're missing something here. Could you fix this? Could you fix that? And it isn't necessarily them sitting at the fucking typewriter and pounding out these new scenes. But, it again, it does go back to collaboration. And I'm going to try and swing us back into True Romance here, because it's a good fucking movie.
It's honestly a movie that
what don't you like about this movie other than sort of the frenetic? You feel it's a little overstuffed at times.
That's it. I like this movie a lot. I put this movie on earlier when I was just sitting at my desk. I like this movie. Don't get me wrong.
Okay,
but it just there is that little bit of like, it's not, I don't know. Something about Tarantino makes me not angry, but I know people like him, and so do you. And those people piss me off, because the way that they act about film or whatever they love so much, it's like, there is no way I could ever be right in their mind. My opinion is wrong because their opinion is the only opinion. And Tarantino strikes me as that kind of person, and I feel a little bit of that in True Romance, but way less, like 1% of this film versus 100% in everything else. Like, oh, Tarantino, we get it. You love old cars and shots of people driving for 20 minutes. We get it. So you don't have to put it in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for half an hour of people just driving old cars in Hollywood. Like, dude, it's overindulgent. This film doesn't have any of that. Because, again, other people had their hands in it, making sure that it didn't veer off into these 20 minutes of people sitting at a table talking.
Okay, can I tell you my favorite scene in the movie?
Is it where Gary Oldman says, "Is it White Boy Day or White Man Day?" Because that's pretty great.
Okay, no, that entire scene is fucking fantastic. However, no, it is a scene between Clarence and Alabama where he takes her back to the comic book shop that he works at, and he's describing the comic where Nick Fury has to dive off of the boat because the Nazi that he's fighting has pitched the ring that his girl gave him, and he needs to dive into it. I think it's incredibly sweetly written, but this goes back to collaboration, because it's not only well written, but it's shot sort of succinctly and sweetly. But it is Patricia Arquette's face. I'm actually tearing up while I'm talking about this. It is the way Patricia Arquette is looking at Clarence when she realizes that this isn't just some other guy that she's dealt with in her entire life. That this guy...
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, Who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us. That's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Has a heart. The way she looks at him, to me, is the actual title of the movie. That scene is the best thing in anything that Tarantino has been involved in. I think it's actually Tony Scott's best thing. There's something so innately emotional about that moment that the whole movie could have ended there for me and I would have been fine. Everything else is sort of gravy, just sort of like reinforcing that one scene. But that scene is in there, and it's I don't know. It hits me in a way that I guess I'm describing it right now, but it's hard for me to describe how poignant that moment is. Take that as you will.
Look, again, that scene didn't hit me the way it hit you, but the chemistry between Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette is fantastic and organically fantastic. It doesn't feel forced.
Those two kids are in love, right?
Yeah. No, I don't doubt it for a second.
We all want that, right? I mean, look, I feel I have that, and that's another thing.
I feel I have that with you too, Father.
Right, I mean, and my girl Jess, like, this is one of her favorite, if not her favorite movie, and I think we connect on a level. So, I mean, look, movies are subjective, and you relate to it in your own way, and I get that, and so part of that is my relationship with my own wife and how we relate over this movie. So, I don't know. I'm just off on a tangent now. But
well, no, I mean, look, that's the reason I wanted you on this podcast is because I know how much you like this movie, which is why I know why you're also getting what would seem to me a little bit more excited when I don't say I like certain things about it. Which is
fine. And no. The thing is, like, look, man. Every movie has its own limitations, sure. And I'm not gonna tell anyone they're wrong in their opinion necessarily. I just think that in this case, like, this movie's trope is as old as motherfucking time. The young lovers on the run. Do I think that there are better young lovers on the run movies? There might be. I'm making a video right now about a film called Gun Crazy from 1949, which might be the sort of granddaddy of all of these movies. So I know it's always been out there. And I don't think this movie necessarily perfected the genre. I don't know that any genre has actually been perfected. But this is pretty fucking close, man.
Star Wars, man? Because that perfected sci-fi.
that space opera, certainly. And like there are other little scenes that fucking like make me so happy.
Can we talk about one thing that I do think sticks out to me as a misstep? And again, I don't know how you. The score by Hans Zimmer is just not good.
Oh,
it's just it doesn't. Maybe I haven't seen the movie enough times to fully appreciate it, but it seems like it's from something else.
Well, that's because it is.
I know it is.
You know what it is. You're already fucking with me. This his score is a quote of the movie Badlands. With Martin Sheen and Sissy Spacek. That has a very similar score, also done on, I believe it's a xylophone.
And if it's not, it's probably a glockenspiel.
Might be a glockenspiel. I don't know. I think it's a xylophone. It isn't as tinny as a glockenspiel is. I think this is definitely a xylophone, or maybe a marimba. But I think
nerds out there, I bet you just creamed your pants at those three things being mentioned.
It might actually be a marimba. It's a little woodier sounding than either a glockenspiel or a xylophone. I think in this case. I think Hans Zimmer is doing an homage, and I think the original score for Badlands is good. I actually think the score for this film is an improvement on it, and I think it's wholly appropriate for the film. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't want to fight you on everything you didn't like about the movie, but what you're picking are things that I think are okay. I agree. The movie might be too frenetic for its own good. It might be a little too overstuffed with characters.
I've seen this movie one time, so again, this is just my 24 hours after watching it reaction to it. So again, take that with what you will. I'm sure you could not tell me how many times you've seen this movie.
Wow. I probably could. I'd say it's between 20 and 30 times.
That's honestly a lot lower than I thought you were going to say.
No, I mean, I maybe watch it once a year, and it came out in what?
What film have you seen more than this?
Dawn of the Dead.
Oh wow,
Creep Show.
A month. You know, that's a month. That's a month we should do. Movies you've seen way too many times.
Yeah. Well, Creep Show's at the top of the list on that one.
Little Nicky's up there for me.
When you say movies like that, it's movies that you can just
fuck you.
You can just turn off the volume, and I can do the movie for you. There aren't that many. I think I can do
it's
sort of beginning to end.
Quote like just vociferously, like not even like. There is a thing like us movie nerds and now obviously most people, you can quote your favorite comedies. I know last week when I was doing trivia, I was walking behind one of my friends that works at the brewery I work at, and I went, I got a extra large cheeseburger for a cop. What did you say it was for a cop? Oh, so they don't spit in it? Oh, so they make it good. And it's from Super Troopers, right? Like, and like that's just like something you do because, you know, it's fucking make someone laugh, and you know, you'd be like, oh, fucking you like that movie, I like that movie too. And I know I butchered the shit out of that quote, so fucking sue me.
I know what you were talking about.
Yeah, but at the same time, what we're talking about is like going beyond that, where it's like I can just quote the film verbatim. Like,
yeah, that's a little beyond. Like it's one thing to throw out the best lines in a movie. It's another to be able to tell you all the minor characters' bullshit lines as well.
Right. Like,
and I don't think
they'll show you how to chew it, like stuff like that. Like, because that's one of my favorite movies. And like that movie, like I couldn't fucking quote that movie from start to finish because David Mamet's writing is amazing. But I mean, that's that thing where it's like I've seen this movie so many times.
Yeah, and I don't know that I could quote you beginning to end True Romance. I certainly couldn't. But it is a movie that if it's on, I'm going to watch it, and I find myself putting it on, even if it's not just sort of playing somewhere.
And that is the sign of a film that you truly connect with.
Yeah, in ways that it's not necessarily hard to describe. I think I have described it, but there's something there's I don't know, man. There's just something so sweet about these two kids. And you know, it's funny because I mean the movie's called True Romance, and it seems like almost an ironic title, but it actually is as close to True Romance in my fucking stupid, twisted mind as possible. Clarence comes back from killing her pimp for no reason. There's no reason for him to go there.
To free her from the bonds of pimpitude.
Right, but she's already free. I mean, sure. She's with him. She can leave. She doesn't ever have to go there. She doesn't ever have to fucking deal with him again. He doesn't know where she is. He's never going to come find her. There's something about it that he can't deal with. I don't know if it's as a man. I don't want to sort of get into gender politics necessarily, but like he has to go do that. But he has to go do it when so he ends up killing a couple of people there. When he comes back, he fucking sits down to eat. He bites into his hamburger, and he says, like, "Oh my God, this is the best goddamn hamburger I've ever had." That is such a fucking true statement. And then, and then her reaction, where she doesn't, she's trying to get out the words that what her interpretation of what he did to her is so romantic, and like he thinks that she's kind of backbiting him about it. Like she doesn't accept it. She thinks he did the wrong thing. And then when she finally says, like, I think what you did was so romantic, it is, I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I just think there's something about these characters that is so fucking purely romantic in my mind that I just love it. You know, at the end of the fucking movie, they're in this situation where he's doing this drug deal so they can fucking get them.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Money so they can just go off and be together. And she like sits down and writes him this note, and it just says, "You're so cool," and gives it to him. Jessica once did that to me in a situation where I was dealing with people who I actually looked up to and was like holding my own. And like that sort of, there's something so true and beautiful that Tarantino was able to put in that fucking script, man. I don't know. I'm sounding like a huge softie now. I get it, but
you are a big softie. But you know what? But here's the thing. Honest to God. Let's get real here for a minute, because
before you continue, I don't like when people review movies in relation to their own lives.
It feels a little much.
Right. It's very sort of myopic, and it does a disservice to the film itself, because like your experience isn't everyone's experience, and I fucking get that. But like, I'm not talking about moments that I've experienced before I saw the movie and then related to. It's like moments that I've experienced later in life that have called back to the movie. So in a way, I feel a little bit divorced from just making this about me and my own life. But anyway, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
So look, here's the reality of everything about this movie, and this is something I've never really had to approach with the podcast. And you said it's a little myopic to look at something that you love and really, really relate to on a visceral, emotional level. So look, you and I, these people that we are on the podcast, are pretty close to who we are in real life. But they are ultimately, a little bit of an amped up version of us. In a way, right? They have to, because not that people don't want to listen to us just, talk about movies, which if you do, awesome, that's why you're here. If not, well, you're not listening to this anyways, and that doesn't matter. But my point is, these two people you're listening to now are us dialed up a little bit. And so when we talk about something that we truly relate to, we have to put ourselves back in the mindset of the people that are just you and I sitting and talking in your living room about how much you love Bugsy Malone or this, that, or how much I love Fletch Lives. Like, there is a kernel of truth behind everything that we say, but it is dialed up a little bit. And when we talk about something we love with something like this, which you love so much, and like I said, I've been to your place, I've stayed with you, and Jess, my wife, and I have separately, and I've seen the stuff in your house, and there's true romance stuff, and I know you guys went to the script reading in LA. Like, there's a lot of things that are too personal to overlook when you talk about a film you truly connect to on a personal level. And that's hard to get past. And I completely understand it, because there are films that if we talked about them on the Kulturecast, I would have a hard time putting where it made me feel aside and how I approach that film. So I completely get it, because again, at the end of the day, this is something that you and Jess have something very personal connection to. And that's hard to overlook when you're talking about to a lot of other people, it might just be a movie.
And
it's the truth, right?
It absolutely is. And it sometimes, you know, it's easy to overlook that movies ultimately are there to make us connected in a way.
I mean, that's how we became friends.
Yeah,
I would
and, like, we
I
connected.
would never have met you if not for a film that we both equally love. A film you have tattooed on your body.
That's true.
That film is Phantom of the Paradise, in case anyone is curious.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen it, go see it fucking immediately. But, you know, there aren't many moments cinematically. Look, like, you'll get, like, one good movie a year. Like, one movie that's really, like, good. But that's just sort of, like, I can appreciate it. I had a good time for 2 hours. There are movies that come along that you connect to in ways that you can't even describe. Like, you know, look, when I saw Taxi Driver for the first time, that movie fucking spun my head around, man. Like, I didn't think anyone felt as disassociated and fucking weird as me. And yet, here's an entire movie about that. And, like, my experience with it isn't going to be yours, and I don't expect you to experience it in that way. And that's the case here, where... Well, the funny thing is about, like, this particular film, like, I saw the movie and responded to it sort of quietly and, like, to myself. And then, you know, I didn't meet my girl like, we had met years before, but we didn't actually get together until...
Boy, that's a story you probably just gloss over how long that story would take to fold.
Yeah, it's a long and it's its own movie. But, like, coming together finally with somebody who had that appreciation of that film, like, it's, you know, it's beyond compare, man. It's like that movie hit her the way it hit me, and, like, here we are together, and it's a movie about fucking people finding each other, people who are lost and feel fucking weird about each other, or about themselves rather, and then here's this other person who looks at that other person and is like, no, I fucking get it. And I know there's a lot of plot in this movie. There's a lot of trials and tribulations that these two characters go through, like, apart and together. But ultimately, like, I don't know. I'm sort of blubbering now. This is a really sweet movie at its fucking core, and it's hard for me to find movies that are more romantic. Look, man, if you were to say to me, what's the most romantic movie of all time? My weirdo fucking response is Sid and Nancy, because that, to me, maybe even on a deeper level than True Romance, speaks to my nihilistic view of the world and the fact that there's still love that you can experience in it. My sort of film nerd, like, love of action and, you know, bloodletting, like this is that version of that film. You know what I mean? Like, I like different romance kind of films in different genres. This one is as good as this one is as good as it gets, as far as you and me against the world. They really are. Clarence and Alabama are fucking amazing characters, and not only that, but I feel like the rest of the characters that they sort of experience are fully realized as well. Clarence's dad, we haven't talked at all about Dennis Hopper. He's fucking amazing in this movie. Like, even, like, the sort of initial antagonist in the piece, which is Gary Oldman as Drexel Spivey, who I've dressed up as before. I sent you a picture. Now do you realize what I was doing? Even that scene between those two, where Clarence goes and he fucking brings an empty envelope. Like, this is what I owe you for my girl. Absolutely nothing. I just come to take her stuff and get the fuck out of here. And I'm probably going to kill you because you've offended me, that you've offended her. I don't know, man. I'm all over the place. I realize, nevertheless, to me, this is one of my favorite romantic films of all time. Is that scattershot enough?
Well, no, and like I said, that ultimately, with what I was talking about before that in and of itself is why I asked you to be on this podcast, is because I wanted a actual gut reaction, and I don't think I've ever gotten one from anyone yet on a Kulturecast about a film that they truly love. Like, I have purposely never talked about films that I truly love going into them, because if I'm not kidding. You can think I'm kidding until the day one of us drops dead. The way you feel about True Romance, and you're gonna fucking hate me. And
Are you gonna say Fletch Lives?
I'm not gonna say Fletch Lives, but I am going to say Fletch. That I feel the same way, because it made me a certain way after watching it that I wasn't before I watched it.
There you go.
You know what I mean.
I absolutely know what you mean.
It's unfortunate it's associated with the human cesspool that is Chevy Chase, because he seems to be completely on his own in more ways than one. But the fact that film, post watching it, turned me into something that is very hard to kind of come to terms with in a way. It's similar to the way you feel with True Romance. It's hard to come to terms with the first time you've watched it. Like, what was that like before I watched it? I don't remember.
You won't see the engineer that slams the Nissan Rogue's door 13,920 times. Or the corrosive chamber that simulates 15 years of life in 5 months. Or the Rogue heat-baked for over 300 combined hours. What you will see is a vehicle that can take punch after punch and keep rolling. Nissan, #1 in new vehicle quality among mainstream brands by J.D. Power. We put it through the worst, so you get its best. For J.D. Power 2025 U.S. Initial Quality Study Award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Awards based on 2025 model year. Newer models may be shown.
Here's the thing, Chris. I actually think the true definition of what art is, if I can be so glib as to fucking define it for everyone, is that it brings more to the table than you brought. It affected you in a way that has fundamentally, not necessarily changed you, but the viewing or listening or reading of it has affected you in such a way that you've not only related to it, but it has heightened your understanding of your own self, right? That should be it. For me, this is super weird to say about True Romance, but to me, this tapped into a feeling for myself of what actual romance really should be, that very few films have come close to. I mean, I mentioned Sid and Nancy. There are a couple of others that I can sort of point to and go, that to me just makes me weep thinking about it. This is one of those movies. So, I get it. And I do not expect anyone to relate to it in the way that I did. If you did, I'm so happy for you. I also know that if you were to come to me and tell me a movie that I absolutely detested, and you were like, no, you don't get, not that you don't get it, because I hate that phrase, but here's what it is, I related to this movie because it taught me this about myself, then I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I can't. It's absolutely impossible.
Because it's not for you.
Yeah, exactly. It was not meant to. It was not meant for me to relate to that movie. It was meant for you to relate to that movie, and that you got that out of it. I'm fucking happy for you. It doesn't necessarily make me like that movie, but it makes me. It can, in a way, make me appreciate that movie on a level that I hadn't before. This affected you like that? That's amazing. Good for you. I'm actually happy as a human being for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I am completely with you. And again, that is why I have held off on talking about films that would make me feel the same way you feel about this film. Because it's not that I don't want to, but it's no one wants to sit and listen to the host of the podcast go, well, I just fucking love this movie, and if you don't like it, you just don't get it.
Right, and but the thing is, I actually think it's important to talk about these movies as well, because, man, you can relate to this. You listen to 99% of podcasts or read reviews. It's all based on fucking cutting shit down. And, I get it. We all like to be ironic and funny and superior and whatever. But, it's important on occasion to point not only out, but at something and go, look, here's a fucking thing that can affect people in a way that this affected me. If it doesn't affect you that way, okay, cool. If you didn't like it, okay, cool as well. But, there are moments like that. This is one of those movies. God, it sounds so weird talking about this. But this is one of those movies. No, seriously.
Boy,
because,
having a hard time, huh?
Dude, like, on its surface, this is just a fucking B action movie with two young lovers on the run trying to fucking get money from cocaine in order to fucking get to Mexico and live their lives. So, like, on that level, I get it. It is just that movie. On another level, it is an entire thing to me personally. And I don't know. These moments are important, and they need to be as illuminated as anything where we just kind of fucking hack and slash them, you know? And so, I mean, I was kind of dreading doing this podcast because, you know what, man? Like, I feel the same way you do about the entire filmography of Quentin Tarantino. I feel like, you know, it's all fucking bullshit plagiarism. I think, like, he puts it together in such a way, and that's cool. And I think his dialogue is really good. Like, I could appreciate it even when I'm looking at stuff that he's stolen from other things. But this one fucking script, for some reason, and the way they made this movie, like, hits me on a level, like, I'm doing my best to describe it, but I can't even. You could give me another hour to talk about it, and I could not. I couldn't make you understand what I get out of it. I'm doing my best to do that. So, yeah, I mean, on that level, it feels weird that I'm lionizing the movie as much as I am. And as I said, it like felt weird, like knowing we were going to have to talk about it and knowing what our opinion of that guy is. This is his truest thing, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think he's ever going to top it. You know, on just a pure filmmaking level, on a pure screenwriting level, the stuff is fun and interesting, but on a deeper human level, like, this is it for me. He's never going to get better than this.
And boy, he didn't even direct it.
I'm glad he didn't direct. It would have been a lot of shots of fucking Patricia Arquette's feet. Hey, this is Patricia Arquette month. She's awesome in this movie, man. I've never seen her better.
Have you seen Little Nicky, though?
I have seen Little Nicky. She's better in this.
I like that.
She's fucking amazing.
I like that,
you know,
you right there. You fuck right off like that with your Little Nicky double speak.
Dude, you mentioned that my girls Jess and I, we actually did go to L.A. Ivan Reitman's son, Jason Reitman, who directed fucking Juno and all those other stupid movies. He occasionally...
Maybe I love Juno because it speaks to me in a way that film does. You ever think about that?
Well, in that case, I'm not going to fault you. It is a terrible movie, though.
It doesn't. That movie is awful.
Yeah, it's awful. But the best thing that Jason Reitman has done is he will occasionally get together a disparate group of actors to reread a script in front of a live audience. They did a True Romance live reading, and it was the only two actors from the film who showed up to do it were Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette. Patricia Arquette, by the way, showed up in her costume from True Romance that she still owns, still fits into, still looks fucking awesome, and it was as good a time as I've ever had, like, watching these actors, like, read these lines. So, do I just sound like a lunatic? This whole podcast is just Michael is a.
Who was the best? So we'll end the podcast on this. Who was the best live read actor that showed up for another role? And I bet I can tell you, Kevin Pollak showed up to do Christopher Walken, didn't he? Didn't he? That son of a bitch.
He absolutely did.
And that's a guess. That's just me guessing.
Okay. All right. Let me. I'll answer this two ways. There is the Kevin Pollak answer, which is his impression of Christopher Walken doing that particular role of Blue Lou Marini. It was the best version of Christopher Walken I've ever heard him do. And he's done it a lot, but he was spot on. So in that way, that was really good. But then he was really only just doing an impression of the actor on screen. As far as the other characters go, I want to say that Keegan-Michael Key read Drexel Spivey's part, and he was really good as well. Jon Favreau did, I don't know James Gandolfini's character's name. That's a failing on my part. He did a really good job as well. Yeah, oh yeah. He only has the one scene, really, and he kind of knocked it out of the park as well. I don't know. I'll leave it on that. Keegan-Michael Key was the sort of MVP as far as new actors coming to it. The real champion was I gotta say Christian Slater, who who fucking, he really nailed it. Like he brought it all back for me. And I don't know, even Patricia Arquette, I don't know. Here's the thing, folks. This is a good movie. I love it. You might not might not react the same way, but True Romance, go see it if you haven't seen it.
What would you give the film out of 5?
5. I give it a 10.
Shocking.
I give it a fucking 10, dude. One of my favorite movies of all time. Look, I'm going on and on about my personal reaction to it and my love for my girl and our shared love of the movie. But even before that, I responded to this movie in a way that, maybe not everyone will, but there's something charming about this movie. It is violent. It is kind of crazy and silly and funny, and poignant. I know I've already hit on the fact that the scene between Dennis Hopper and Christopher Walken is one of my favorite written moments of all time, and also performed. But it is a masterclass. Like, if you can write that scene, the caliber of it, you're way ahead of the game. It's really something. It's a marvel. It's a marvel watching these two characters, not even the actors necessarily, but the way they're maneuvering around each other and the way they're sort of needling each other. It's fucking amazing. Anyway.
The only thing that makes that scene a little disappointing is the fact that that's based off of Tarantino listening to someone else talk to him about Sicilians.
No, somebody told him that story, and I totally get that. You know what? And here's the thing. Look, man, you know what? If you want to get super into Tarantino ripping somebody off, fucking Roger Avery wrote a script called The Open Road, which is about a character named Clarence and his girlfriend Alabama on a road trip, and Clarence is writing a script called Natural Born Killers, and fucking Mickey and Mallory come to life. And Tarantino said, hey, can I take that and do something with it? And then ended up turning it into 2 separate movies. So, on that basis, yes, it didn't even come from him to begin with, but he took the bones of it and he fucking polished it into what in my mind is a fucking cinematic diamond. There it is.
And I would give this film a 4 out of 5.
You're wrong.
Sad. Yeah, well, again, that's my opinion, and you're not entitled.
Well, you know what? Honestly, Chris, I thought you were giving it a 2, so I'm...
Why would I give it a 2? I told you, I
don't know, man. You know what? You've got that fucking Tarantino bias, and I trust you, but
wow, now it's a Tarantino bias. Again,
you do. Listen, man, and I got it too. I got it too.
Launch into my diatribe as to why I don't like Tarantino. You know how many times I've been told my opinion is wrong because I don't like Pulp Fiction, so therefore,
well, you know what, man,
I have on film is wrong.
You know what? Here's the thing.
But fucking insane.
Oh man, look! I've lost friends over fucking cinematic arguments, so I totally get it. On the sort of same level, all I got to say is those fucking people are wrong. They need to watch more movies. There it is.
Well, that is the thing I always say is if you think Tarantino is the height of American cinematic prowess, you've clearly never seen David Lynch or David Fincher or Terrence Malick or Martin Scorsese or, a lot
or fucking Raoul Walsh or William Wellman or John fucking Ford or, you know what I mean? Walter Hill or, there's fucking cinema is not new. The fact that, Google a list, go top 10 whatever genre. It's always from the past 20 years because it's all anyone can remember. Guess what? There's a fucking world of cinema out there. It's waiting for you, and you should indulge.
You should, because there's a lot better things out there than Tarantino. And again, I'm not saying that
not even to fucking bag on Tarantino. There's an entire fucking universe of movies out there waiting for you that you're going to relate to in ways that no one ever will, and they're just fucking sitting there. Go fucking find them, man.
Yeah.
Don't just take what everyone spoon feeds you.
Yeah, I had this Pulp Fiction poster in my dorm room. Cool, man.
So cool. You and everybody else. That's great.
Why do you like that movie is my question. Why do you love it? Is it because it's...
Because it made them feel cool. And you know what? And they're not wrong. It's a fucking...
Because you relate to gangsters in the 90s stealing a briefcase of MacGuffins? How do you relate? Tell me why you like that movie other than it's cool. Because it's cool has never been, a legitimate reason for a lot of... It's cool. You know what else is cool? smashing your head in with a brick. I heard
No, neither of those are cool. You know what's cool? Anything with James Cagney in it. Go watch his movies. He's fucking awesome.
You know what else is cool? Anything with Chevy Chase in it.
That is true for the most part. Modern Problems.
Chevy Chase has Modern Problems.
Modern Problems, man. Good movie.
Yeah, dude. He snorts a pile of cocaine in that movie. What's cooler than that?
Nothing. You know what is actually True Romance is? Everybody go watch True Romance, please. And if you disagree with me, just keep it to yourself.
So yeah, let's take a break and we'll play a preview for the next Kulturecast.
We have a very deep laceration here. Both wounds are identical, the same size, same shape.
You think I did this?
What's happening in your life, Frankie?
It is some sort of attack.
Wrists are bandaged. We're investigating this one.
Miss Page, I travel around the world investigating miracles.
Do you know what the stigmata are?
5 wounds. His back was scourged by whips. There were nails driven through his hands and feet. Only deeply devout people have been afflicted with these wounds. Which church do you attend?
I don't go to church.
All stigmatics suffer the most intense demonic attacks.
I wrote that?
It's a form of Aramaic that hasn't been used for 1900 years.
Problem is what it says. It was written entirely in the language of Jesus, written in the first person.
There are some in the Vatican who believe that this could destroy the church.
You have no idea who you're dealing with.
Who are you?
Il messaggero non è importante.
This is a warning. I can't escape this.
You lied to me! You tried to silence her!
If she receives another wound, she's going to die.
Take me. Let me be your messenger.
How's your faith these days, Father? How's your faith these days?
So on the next Kulturecast, you will be back. We will be talking about a movie that we actually already recorded the podcast for. We're doing these out of order. But you are going to be listening to us talk about Stigmata, another Patricia Arquette film. And boy, I can tell you Mike's not going to go to bat. Or Mike. I always call you Mike, but that's not your name. Father Malone won't go to bat for that film like he did for this film.
But I know, even more so.
Yeah, this film shaped me. No, it didn't.
Yes. I'm not trying to drive listeners away. I want you to come and listen to me blubber about yet another film. This is, Chris, by the way, this is officially the first podcast I've ever done where I've cried while I was talking to you.
So here's the thing. I wish I could say that that's the first time I've done a podcast with someone who's crying, but it's not, which is a sad thing in and of itself.
Well, then I feel less special now. Well, maybe I should feel more appropriate. How about that?
When you are not on the Kulturecast, where can people find you, Father Malone?
Well, you can always find me. As long as my phone is plugged in, you can find me on my YouTube channel, OughtFive Films. I've got a show called You've Never Seen. You can check me out there. I've also got a new show coming out in the next week or two. I've got a show called Unaired Pilots coming on, which I hope you check out. You can also hear me over on 2 other podcasts with this fucking lunatic. We do a show about HBO's Tales from the Crypt called Chronicles from the Crypt. We also do a show about the Twilight Zone 85 revival called Dreams for Sale, the Twilight Zone 85 podcast.
And this man is not kidding. I am a lunatic. And that's all you need to know about me. No, you can follow me on Twitter at casualty_Chris. You can find me on two podcasts I do called The One Season Show, where I talk about shows that have only aired for one season with my good friend Jess Byard. And I'm also on a little podcast called The Kolchak Tapes with our friend in Christ, Mr. Mike White. You want to find the Kulturecast, head on over to Kulturecast.com, at Kulturecast on Twitter. You'll find access to our Patreon, all the other episodes, all the good stuff, and then some. Big thanks as always to _91 for Thunderous, which is the intro outro for the Kulturecast. We'll catch you on the next episode.